Hey, y'all. Welcome to Coffee with Steven. I'm Steven. This is Coffee. I got it right that time. Sometimes I say I'm Coffee. This is Steven, but I'm Steven and this is Coffee. And y'all, I want to do something a little different. I want to talk about 10 books that had an impact on me in 2025. Not the books that I read, not my favorite books, but just 10 books that had an impact on me. And I want to just go over them briefly and tell you about the impact that they had and why they're special to me. Again, they're probably not my favorite books that I read. Some of them may be, but they are 10 books that really had an impact on me. And we'll just jump right into it right after I tell you. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate you being here. All right, and these are in no specific order whatsoever, and there'll probably be some jumping around to it, but you know what? Let's do this right here. Let me do this right here. Let me see. These are the 10 books right here that we're going to just kind of go over really, really quick. Yeah. Whew, man, paper gets heavy after a while, y'all. All right, so the first one I want to go over is The Coven, and we're not going to talk about what's in the books or anything like that, but The Coven is written by Corvina Sweeney, and that's her pen name, by the way. And the reason this one is special to me is Corvina and I became pretty good friends on X, and so much so that she had another book that she published this past year, and I've got it around here somewhere, and I should have used that one as an example because this is more about her than it is the book. But she done a book release on it, and she invited me to her book release party. She lives in Louisiana, and I live in North Georgia, and it was like an 8-hour trip to go down there to her book release party. But wow, what a really, really wonderful person, cool person. Made my wife and I feel really, really at home. We enjoyed it, and I enjoyed this book tremendously. The next one I want to talk about is Feed by M.T. Anderson. Now, this one is interesting because this has nothing to do with anybody I've met, but this book was recommended to me by someone, and I will get back to that someone in a little bit because I have one of their books in here as well. But this book was recommended to someone because we determined through an initial conversation that, hey, you know what? You might like to read dystopian books. And y'all, I read this book right here, and I almost couldn't put it down. This was really maybe the second or third book that I read in 2025. And I couldn't put it down. I was like, wow, this is great. And this was one of the books that just kept me going. And at the end of it, I was like, son of a bitch. I did not like the way it ended, but it ended that way. But anyway, this book right here really set the tone for my interest into dystopian books. I really, really like the dystopian genre. So if you have any dystopian books that you can recommend to me, I've got a ton of them, but I would love a recommendation on some because I really enjoy that genre a lot. Speaking of dystopian books, Fahrenheit 451. This book was written, I think, in 1951 or 52. This is a republished copy of it, as you can tell. But anyway, this is a dystopian book. And what really stood out with me about this book is almost 100 years old, let's say 90 plus years old. And the story was absolutely wonderful. I enjoyed it so much, and it told me, you know what? Maybe you just need to go back and start finding some old books and reading some old books. So this kind of scratched two itches for me. One, it turned me on to older books, and two, it really fit into that dystopian book dystopian type book. Dystopian genre. I got it. The dystopian genre that I really found out that I really liked a ton, y'all. Then there was this book right here, The Carriage Master by Jake Hayes. And it is a novel. It says it's a novel on there. This book right here is 550 pages roughly. And this guy I met on X. And the way I met him was I ran across an author that really did not like me, knew nothing about me, but didn't like me because of my politics. And my politics weren't brought up. She just saw a MAGA hat in my profile. I was like, oh, I don't like that son of a bitch. Well, this guy right here was part of a conversation that was going on and sent me a copy of the audiobook, and I was so thankful for that and grateful for that I turned around and I bought the book. I'm just going to say this is probably one of my top 3 books of 2025. I love this book. I couldn't put it down. The story is just fan-friggin-tastic. If you haven't read The Carriage Master, man, you should check out The Carriage Master. It is a long read, but it is one of those long reads where, you know what, you're like, oh, I'm on page 100, and the next thing you know is I can't put it down. Oh, I'm on page 200. Such an awesome book. I really, really loved it, and I really appreciate Jake and, being a friend on X. Just really awesome. The next book really isn't so much about a story, but this is called The Evans Guide for House Training Your Dog by Job Michaels Evans. And this here, a friend of mine on X recommended this book to me right here. And I bought this past year. I bought me a German short-haired pointer, hunting dog, and I wanted to. Instead of taking her to a trainer, I wanted to train her myself. And so this is basically goes into house training, housebreaking, and things like that. And man, my girl, her name is Nora Jones. It was like this book was night and day, from the first week to her peeing in her crate to all of a sudden she doesn't pee in the crate anymore, and then how to train her and communicate with her and stuff. And now I can do things like sit, fetch, lay, stay, middle, where she runs out and she comes back and she gets in between my legs. Just tons and tons of things with her. I spent a lot of time with her, but this book right here, anybody getting a new dog and going through the housebreaking stage, if you're going to keep your dog in the house, this book is gold. I guarantee you this book is gold. The next book, The Vitamin Kid by Tyler Kirk and Harry Kirk. Harry Kirk is his grandfather, but this was one of the first books I got from an indie author on X, and I reached out on X one day and put, hey, I'm looking for book recommendations, and Tyler reached out and talked to me about genres. He was the one that recommended Feed to me, and that got me into the dystopian genre, but Tyler has been really cool ever since then. I got this book. I got another book from him, but the book is a really cool story. I enjoyed it a lot, but the bigger thing about it was Tyler really represented the indie community perfectly. If you had more people like Tyler in your community representing the indie authors, the indie author community would just put Barnes and Nobles and all them other damn bookstores out of business for sure. So Tyler, I really appreciate. I really enjoyed your books. I really appreciate you turning me on to dystopian, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you as a person. Thank you very much. All right, the next book. Man, do I have a lot to say about this one. This one is Richard Uprising. The subtitle, Welcome to America's Descent into Self-Imposed Tyranny. This is done by Patrick Silken. I will tell you, this was the last book I read in 2025, and man, oh man, oh man, this is also going to be the first book I read in 2026, because I've already started rereading it again. I enjoyed it so friggin' much. This is, it just resonated with me, and as I was reading the book, it kind of felt like, I could see all these similarities in the whole COVID thing that we went through in the world and everything, and yeah, but I will tell you what, I don't want to do a review on it, because I'm going to come back here and do a review on it with you later. But this book right here by Patrick Silken was a phenomenal read. I enjoyed it so friggin' much. I enjoyed it so much, I'm going to read it again. Well, I am reading it again. And yeah, I can't wait for another one. I really can't. So, Patrick, friggin' awesome book, dude. This one here, Relentless Blades by Russell Carroll. So I wanted to talk to you about Russell Carroll for a little bit. And the big thing I want to say about Russell is, if you are an indie author or an author, period, I don't care if you're an indie or not, and you're wanting to build a community and promote your work and promote others, follow him on X. Do what he does. He is the most active, most promoting, most supporting indie author out there. He does a really great job promoting his stuff, and I really enjoyed the book. It took me a long time to read it, y'all. I can't tell you, it was really enjoyable. But the big thing is, I want you to walk away with, if you are an author, or an indie author, or an aspiring author, and you want to know how to make an impact and promote your stuff, and then become part of a community, go check out Russell on X and do what he does. It's just that damn simple. All right, the next book. I'm gonna hold this one off to last. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this one. This one here, Built from Broken. So this is not a story. This is kind of a I don't know what you call it. It's not a self-help book. It's a guide on rebuilding your body. So some of you may know, but 5 years ago was the last time I actually done a ultra distance run, and I hurt my leg. I tore my hamstring and broke my ankle all at the same time, and it really set me back. I just really every time I would try to run after that, after I went through a recovery period, I could still feel the pain, and I was like scared to death that I was going to hurt myself again. So I bought this book right here. Started going through some of the exercises and recommendations and some of the programs in here, and this year 2026, y'all, will be the run of Steven going back into ultras again. I am so looking forward to getting back out there and running, spending some time in the woods running and stuff like that. So I would recommend this book anybody who's ever gotten an injury, a sports injury, or just any type of injury, and you're wanting to improve yourself, build yourself back stronger. This book right here, Built from Broken, is the way to go, y'all. Check it out. All right, the last book I'm going to recommend or talk about is ESP Pine Chronicles by Mike Diaz. And Mike and I have become friends. He actually lives here in Georgia. I haven't met Mike in person yet, but he actually lives here in Georgia where I live, maybe 45 miles away from me. And this is a book about items that you would find in a pawn shop, and some of them have stories that they tell, and I won't go into it, but man, it was a fun read, a bunch of short stories. It was a really, really fun read. But what makes this really special to me is Mike and I became friends. We just built a connection, and we communicated with each other, and I was off X for about 2 months. And while I was off X for about 2 months, because I was in an auto accident, and I had a lot of stuff going on, and I didn't have time to really do anything, and didn't feel like communicating with people and all that. Of all the people that I follow me on X, Mike was the only one that reached out to check on me. And dude, that meant a lot to me. I really, really appreciate it. I will support you in everything that you do forever and ever and ever. Amen. So yeah, those were the 10 books, y'all, that really meant a lot to me, and mostly, for different reasons. But I wanted to share those with you and put them out there and tell you, I hope you have a happy new year, happy 2026. I hope 25 was really good, and I hope 26 blows that out of the water and is even better for you. And if you haven't set any goals, any reading goals, let's talk reading goals first. If you haven't set any reading goals, just set a reading goal, even if it's just one book a month. That's my goal for the year. I know I will read a lot more than 12 books this year, because every evening when I'm sitting down to get ready to go to bed, I've got a book in my hand and I'm reading. But that's my goal. I don't want to put something that's way out of reach out there. Last year in 2025, I read 23 books, and I didn't set out to do that, and I'm not setting out to do it this year. But set yourself a goal. There is nothing better than the feel of a book in your hand, flipping pages, and knowing that you're not sitting on social media or something like that. Just it's good, and it's good for your brain too. So yeah, set a goal. Maybe it's 5 books for you or something, but pick up a book and read it. I think that would be super duper awesome. Then the last thing I wanted to kind of share with you is I also started another channel. See my beanie I got on my head? My beanie? So while I was trying to recover from my little accident I had, I picked up learning to knit. So I knit this beanie right here all by my lonesome. I didn't follow a pattern or anything like that. I just kind of watched some videos. And y'all, look at my little beanie. I better put it back on my head because my head might get cold. But yeah, this is my beanie I made myself. And so I started this channel on, my progress in the knitting and how I'm learning to knit and things I'm going to do. And it's called The Knitting Man. And I will leave that in the description. So if you like the way I kind of go over stuff and share stuff with people, whatever, and you have an interest in another type of hobby or something, check me out over there. I really would appreciate it. And y'all, as always, I hope you have an awesome one. Happy coffee to you. And happy 2026. See you back soon. Bye.